Today we're going to continue talking about fractions, and for today's lesson we're going to be using something called Cuisenaire rods. So because we're not in the classroom, I decided to make some electronic Cuisenaire rods on here. So as you can see, I have an orange one here, a green one, red and purple, and then I have some white guys down here. So what do you notice about these Cuisenaire rods? You might notice that some are longer than others, and you might also notice that we can use them to build onto each other. So like I can put a green one here and a red one here, I can put a purple one here. We can attach them to one another. We can make cool things like a staircase like this. So there's lots of cool things that we can do with them. But today we're going to be using them to measure out a hole, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So let's start with one red one here. So the red is our hole. So how many white Cuisenaire rods does it take to make up the hole if the hole is this red one here? Well, let's see. I'm going to put 1 and 2. So I can see that it takes 2 to make up the whole. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make these into unit fractions. So how would I do that? Well, I'm going to be counting each individual white piece that I used. So here I have 1 white piece out of 2 altogether. And then here I have another white piece out of 2. So the fraction I could use to represent the white in this case is going to be our unit fraction. It's going to be 1/2. So 2 1/2 makes 1 whole red. So now I'm going to use a different hole. So this time my hole is going to be green. So how many white Cuisenaire rods would it take to make up a whole green rod? Well, let's find out. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So what would the fraction be that I would use to represent the white? Well, we're going to start by making our unit fraction. So here I can see that there's 1 piece and there's 4 altogether. So I'm counting each individual piece. 1 piece out of 4, 1 piece out of 4, and the last 1 piece out of 4. So the fraction I could use to represent the white in this case would be 1/4, because 1 white piece equals 1/4 of the whole. Is there another rod that I could use to measure the whole? So let's try it with the red rod up here. Let's see if we can use the red rod to make 1 whole green rod. So I have 1 piece here and 1 piece here. So what would the fraction be for the red part? Well, let's start by making our unit fraction. So I have 1 piece here out of 2 altogether, and 1 piece here out of 2. So the red represents 1/2 in this case, because it takes 1/2 and another half to make 1 green. So now I can see something really interesting is happening. So it takes 1 red to take up half of the green. So that 1 red is 1/2 of the green. So I'm going to write 1/2 here. But how many whites does it take to make up the same half? Well, I can put 1 here and then 1 here. So I can see now that I used 2 2 whites out of the 4 that I had originally. So 1/2 is the same as 2/4. They both take up half of the green whole. So now I'm going to ask you guys some questions. So if this white Cuisenaire rod here is 1/2, what color rod would the whole be? So when I'm thinking about this, I want the white to cover 1/2 of one of the colored rods. So let's try the green rod. So if I put this white over the green, does that cover half of the green rod? Nope, it doesn't. So it can't be the green rod. Let's try the orange rod. So if I put one of the white Cuisenaire rods over top, is it going to cover the whole? No, obviously not. But what if I try the red rod? If I put a white over that, is it covering half? It is. So in this case, the whole would be red. This time, I'm going to make our white Cuisenaire rod equal 1/3. So that means it would take 3 of the whites to cover a whole Cuisenaire rod. So what color would our whole be if the white equals 1/3? Let's give it a try. So let's start with the green this time. So will I need 3 Cuisenaire rods to cover this? We'll see. I have 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't cover the entire Cuisenaire rod, so it can't be the green. Why don't we try purple? So I have 1, 2, 3. Oh, look. So when the purple is the whole, we can cover it with 3 white Cuisenaire rods. So the whole in this case would be purple. So now I've changed the white Cuisenaire rods to equal 1/6. So what color would the whole be if 1 white Cuisenaire rod equals 1/6? So that means I'll need 6 white Cuisenaire rods to cover the entire rod. So let's try the red one. So that's going to be my whole. Do you think it's going to take 6 white Cuisenaire rods to cover it? Well, I don't think so. I have 1 and 2, and more or less the whole thing's covered, so nope, that can't be our whole. What if we try the orange one? So this is going to be our whole. Let's see if it takes 6 white ones to cover this one. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the orange would be our whole because 1 white guy represents 1/6. So to finish off today's lesson, we're going to do a word problem together. Vienna thinks that 2 white rods equal 2/6 of an orange rod. Dominic thinks that 2 white rods equal 1/3 of an orange rod. Who is right? Well, first of all, we need to get the important information from the question. So we know that Vienna thinks that 2 white rods equal 2/6 of an orange rod. And Dominic thinks that 2 white rods equal 1/3 of an orange rod. So that gives us our starting point. Let's start with Vienna's first. So Vienna thinks that 2 white rods equals 2/6 of an orange rod. So let's put that to the test. I'm going to cover the orange rod with my white rods here. There we go. And there we go. Now, the question says that Vienna thinks that 2 white rods equal 2/6 of an orange rod. So I'm just going to color in 2 of these white rods here. And now we're going to see if Vienna's right. So to make my fraction, the numerator is what we start with, and the numerator is the number of pieces that I've colored in. So that would be 2. And then the denominator is how many pieces there are in total. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it turns out that Vienna's right. 2 white rods equal 2/6 of an orange rod. Our fractions add up there. But let's explore and see if Dominic has the right answer. So Dominic thinks that 2 white rods equal 1/3 of an orange rod. So now, instead of using the white Cuisenaire rods, let's try to use the red, because we want to cover the orange Cuisenaire rod using 3 pieces. So each red block equals 1 out of the 3 pieces. So let's see if I can do that. 1, 2, and 3. So we're going to make a new unit fraction for our red pieces. So we have 1 piece here out of the 3 red pieces. We have another 1 red piece here out of 3, and then 1 red piece here out of the 3. So our unit fraction for the red pieces is 1/3. But take a look at this. Something really interesting happened. So Vienna said that she thought that 2 white rods equaled 2/6 of an orange rod, and she was right. But when we put the pieces for thirds over top, we can see that these two line up. Our red block and the white blocks represent the same amount. So 1/3 is the same as 2/6. So Vienna and Dominic were both right.
So I hope you've enjoyed today's lesson. As usual, go back to the lesson page and I've posted some games up there for you guys, and then you can do the exit pass, and I'll see you tomorrow.